Stan sent us this footage from when his wife was waiting at a traffic light in their Model Y. When the light turned green, she proceeded into the intersection before Baam! She was struck by a Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Stan's wife had only been licensed for a month. Even though the Tesla had given her an audible warning sound, she hadn't been driving it long enough to know that it was warning her of an impending collision. The Dodge driver fled the scene, and police took 40 minutes to respond. Stan now faces a $1,000 deductible, all for a vehicle only 2 months old. They hadn't even gotten permanent license plates for it yet. Watch what happened while Christy was headed to get coffee in her Tesla Model Y. The driver of a white SUV ran a red light and T-boned another SUV, which then rolled over. Christy didn't have any other information about this collision to share with us, but we certainly hope everyone involved was okay. Lucas was driving to work in his Tesla Model 3 when traffic slowed down, which wasn't unusual for this stretch of road. Lucas slowed down, but the driver behind him wasn't watching the road before she rear-ended his Tesla. After the impact, Lucas's Tesla pulled off the road on its own. The other driver was shaken up, so Lucas let her sit in his car until her mother arrived while they waited for the police. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured, but the other car was totaled by the collision. Lucas's Tesla spent over a month in the shop, where it cost $18,000 to repair. Phil was driving his Model 3 in Indiana when he approached an intersection with a red light. After the light turned green, he gradually accelerated before Baam! Without signaling or checking for traffic, the driver of a flatbed truck hauling pallets turned right from the left lane before colliding with Phil's Tesla. The resulting damage to Phil's Model 3 caused it to be totaled, but he replaced it with a brand new Model Y long range. Bryce was driving his Model 3 home with full self-driving engaged when he approached an intersection. As he proceeded with a green light, he noticed a driver in the left turn lane abruptly stop before another driver ran their red light and T-boned an oncoming vehicle. When police arrived, Bryce waited for officers to interview the involved drivers before one of them approached him. He told the officer he had the collision captured on Teslacam, but the officer told him he didn't need to see it. Incredibly, everyone involved walked away without injury, although both drivers were shaken up. Bryce noted that the driver who'd run the red light was particularly loud, drawing attention as they complained about everything. Eli was on his way home from work when he heard a crash behind him. When he looked in his mirror, he saw two vehicles that had just collided. Another textbook close-the-gap collision. Eli pulled over and made sure everyone was okay. Before leaving, he gave copies of his Teslacam footage to both involved drivers, as well as to the responding police officers. Candy Cat was driving her Model Y after picking up her daughter from high school. While waiting at a traffic light, she suddenly heard tires screeching behind her. When she looked back, she watched a speeding SUV rear-end a pickup driver who turned into the far lane. Candy Cat didn't stop, as she pointed out there wasn't a safe place for her to pull over without blocking traffic. Marco was driving his Tesla when traffic in the next lane stopped for a red light. Sadly, another driver left a gap in traffic, and another driver turned through it before colliding head-on with Marco's Tesla. When police arrived, Marco said an officer was amazed when he showed him his Teslacam footage. Since he was around 250 miles from home at the time, he had to pay a local to repair his Tesla enough for him to drive it home. After that, it took 2 months to complete repairs, and the final bill came to about $25,000. Marco's Tesla had a full custom wrap, which the insurance company paid to replace, but since the original wrap color was no longer available, Marco had them rewrap the entire car in a new color. He also took the opportunity to install custom matrix headlights, which he paid for himself. Carolina was driving in New York City, waiting to make a left turn, when an oncoming driver drifted into her lane and collided with her Tesla Model 3 head-on. Immediately after the collision, the other driver began loudly blaming Carolina and saying the whole thing was her fault. Thankfully, a bystander who'd witnessed the collision came forward to back up Carolina's story. Sadly, her Tesla had lost all power after the collision and she was unable to move it out of the street for 4 hours. After all that waiting, she had to wait another 8 hours to get a police report. Well, that's one way to ruin an entire day. Dwayne had arrived at a bar to enjoy some wings with friends when the staff suddenly informed them that their supply of natural gas had been cut off. And that's when Dwayne noticed the smell of gas in the air. From their seats at the bar, he and his friends spotted several police vehicles parked outside. Dwayne stepped outside to check on his Tesla and ask an officer if everything was okay. The officer assured him the situation was under control before Dwayne mentioned his Teslacam might have recorded relevant footage. The officer reviewed his Teslacam footage with him, which is when they discovered that a pickup driver had struck a gas line, causing a gas leak and widespread gas outage in the area. Using Dwayne's Teslacam footage, police were able to locate the pickup driver just 10 minutes away, still driving along in his smashed-up pickup like nothing had happened. Rami was making a phone call on his way to work one morning while driving his Model Y down a California highway. When he heard noise on his left, he checked his mirrors to see a car ricocheting off the median barrier. When he reviewed his Teslacam footage, he saw the driver drifting toward a pickup before panicking and swerving, losing control and hitting the pickup anyway before smashing into the median barrier more than once. Rami was a significant distance down the highway before he realized what had happened, so he continued on his way to work. This subscriber was taking a friend home in his Tesla Model Y, driving slowly due to the slick road conditions after recent snowfall. As he approached a curve and began slowing down, he suddenly noticed a car sitting sideways, blocking the entire road. In an effort to avoid a collision, our subscriber steered into the snow on the side of the road as the other driver pulled forward, ensuring his path was totally blocked. Incredibly, he managed to stop just inches from hitting the car. Even after hitting the bushes and tree branches on the side of the road, he wasn't able to find any scratches in his Tesla's paint. Trogdor's wife was exiting the highway in their Model Y on her way to the dentist. As she prepared to make a right on red, she noticed an oncoming truck in the lane she needed to enter. As she came to a stop, exactly as you are legally required to before making a right on red, she was rear-ended by a Toyota Tundra. Thankfully, the Toyota driver was apologetic as he admitted fault, and he told Trogdor's wife this was his first collision. Nick was relaxing while letting full self-driving V14 drive his Model S Plaid when he heard a concerning noise. Before he realized what was happening, FSD had already slowed the car down. Suddenly, he noticed sparks flying everywhere as a car careened across the entire highway after colliding with the median barrier. The car barely missed hitting another before it went off the highway and into a ditch, taking out a sign before stopping. Nick doesn't know what caused the collision as he continued without stopping. Ray was driving out of the Hollywood Hills when the area lost power, disabling all the traffic lights. Everyone should know that a disabled traffic light should be treated like a four-way stop, so Ray stopped at an intersection and waited for his turn. As he proceeded through the intersection, another driver failed to stop before T-boning his Model X. Any guess as to what kind of car it was? That's right, it was a Honda. Both airbags on the passenger side deployed, but Ray is thankful his family wasn't in the car with him at the time. His twin boys are big fans of Wham Bam Teslacam, and when he told them about the collision, his son Colton said, "Wham Bam," while his son Connor shouted, "Honda Bump." Michael was driving his Model Y down a highway one night when a semi-truck suddenly began merging into his lane. Thankfully, full self-driving smoothly maneuvered to avoid any collision. FSD saves the day again. Krish was approaching a red light while driving his Tesla in Texas, when the driver of an SUV suddenly ran the light right in front of him. Thankfully, he spotted the driver coming from the left, who had a green light, and made an evasive maneuver at the last possible second. Yikes! Brady witnessed a collision after exiting an interstate highway when a work van ran a red light before T-boning another vehicle. Brady turned around to check on the vehicle that had been hit, which was occupied by a mother and her 4 sons. Thankfully, first responders determined they weren't seriously injured. The van driver fled the scene on foot before being located in the woods by a police canine and going right to jail right away. A Takan was driving his Model Y down a main road with his wife and young daughter along for the ride. Suddenly, a white Renault blew through a stop sign and a Takan wasn't able to avoid colliding with its driver's door. Although his paint protection film was able to prevent damage to most of his bumper cover, a lower plastic section and the license plate bracket were both damaged. The Renault driver was going so fast that he nearly lost control before barely managing to stop. His reason for being so reckless? He told a Takan that he was trying to get his mother to the bus station on time and the sun had been shining into his eyes. Paul was driving his Model Y down the travel lane of a highway in heavy rain when both drivers ahead of him slammed on their brakes. That's when he noticed a black hatchback in the passing lane facing the wrong way. Incredibly, it didn't appear that it had collided with any barriers or vehicles. Wham Bam fam, please slow down when driving in dangerous conditions like heavy rain, snow, or icy roads. It's better to arrive late than not at all. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you with more Teslacam chaos next weekend.